Okay, continuing on with our texture, you can see that the layers it's starting to be quite colourful, which is excellent. So we can start to put in our wash layer. So to start tying everything together, so this subcutaneous layer first. So using the same brush as I did for the body, I'm going to start this around the base of the neck. We won't do this over the entire face. It'll be a bit too much. We want it to actually be a little bit more finer detail in the face. So once we've just done it around the base of the neck, I'm going to use a speckling brush just like this. So again, this one is pressure sensitive. You can find any kind of speckle brush to do the same sort of thing if you're using a mouse. And then I'm going to go in with a very, very, very small brush, and I'm going to do, with white, I'm going to do kind of like figure eights all over the place. So you can see how that is making more of a mottled look over the entire, over the face. So I'm going to do that for the entire face area, and to blend it down into with the neck as well. So just figure eights and circles and what have you. I find figure eights tend to work better, but sometimes it's hard to keep your hand going in that motion all the time. But yeah, so just doing that over the entire face. Okay, once that's done, I can have a look at it in Max to see how it's working, but again, don't forget your ears. I left the wireframe on, so I just went in back and saving that. So yep, that's coming along nicely. The colours are sitting in the places that I want them to sit. Now I can put the wash over the top. So using that, well, actually I've forgot about the veins, so I'll put the veins in first. So just little ones in some places. I mean, we don't want it to look like she's really veiny. So just some of the larger veins in some of the more prominent areas, so around the neck, and a few up around the eye. Once that's done, we can do the same as we did before. We'll put the colour wash over the top, same colour as I did with the body, and using the same speckling brush as well. So you can always save your brushes once you've changed them, so you don't have to keep going back as I'm doing and creating the new one. I just find it easier just to create it because I do it so often. But it would be good to have it there. Again, once that's all done as well, you can go in and put the really dark purpley red colour where the lips will be. Here I'm adding a darker colour to where the hairline would be, so just to add a little bit of depth when the hair goes on, or to show where the hairline would be, say if she was bald, kind of like a stubbling effect. Once I'm happy, I'll go through and do the wash. So just using the same pink colour and building up the colour to tie everything back in together. I did forget about the little tear duct here, so I'm just going in with a very light pink and painting in where the tear ducts would be. With that done, I can go back in and I'll start on my epidermis layer, so bringing the skin colour in. Again, using the same scattering brush to build up the colour. Okay, she's starting to look great. So her skin, her face and arms are looking good. They're tied together. They're not, like, one's not standing out to be different than the other. So we can start to add a little bit more detail. So we can start to put her makeup on, and if she has freckles or if she has anything like that, we can start to do that now as well. The one thing I did forget to bring into this image is our head's ambient occlusion. So opening up my ambient occlusion map, I'll copy and paste it into my PSD file. We're going to have to fix up a couple of these areas, but first I'll grab the hue adjustment layer that I created for the body, and I'll just click and drag on the canvas up into my body layer, my head layer I should say, sorry, and making sure that that is affecting the skin layer, the AO only, so holding Alt and clicking between the two layers. I'll then go with my smudge tool at 100%, or I'm using 40 actually. I'll use and I'll just try to smudge these areas so that they disappear. If we don't do that, it'll show up when we put the multiply on as kind of a weird hole, and it'll break the effect that we're going for, so we don't want to do that. So I'll need to do that for all of these areas where the AO map hasn't quite baked out correctly. So for the ears and the face, and I'll have to go through with the hair as well and fill all those holes as well. But for now, we'll just do their head. Once I'm happy with that, I'll put a multiply layer adjustment on there. I'll check the opacity that I used on my body and drop the fill or the opacity down a bit to match the body, so that the shadows on the body are the same as the face. So I'm just bringing it up a little bit so I can see where I'm going to put the makeup, the eye makeup. I'll drop that down again later, but for now it just helps lay down some of the colour. So I don't want a lot of makeup on her. She's an archaeologist, she's not going out to a nightclub, so I'm just going to use some nice light neutral tones in order to get the makeup on her. Here I'm just going to paint in a very quick eyebrow. This will be underneath the actual eyebrows anyway, but it's just going to be kind of like a marker, so I know how high up I can take the eyeshadow. Yeah, so that it's not wandering up onto her forehead or something. Now, since we are doing this in its own layer, we can be a little bit heavy-handed with the color, so obviously this is way darker than I would actually intend it to be when it's finished, but I'll lay it on thick and then I can drop the opacity later. Okay, we mustn't forget the eyeliner. This will also help attach our eyelashes to our eye, since they're separate objects. It'll help, you know, just tie the two together. So this can be a lot of back and forth here to make sure that it isn't bleeding over onto the eyelid. You just want it to be in the right position. You don't want it to be too thick or too thin. Again, depending on your character, maybe they wear a lot of heavy eye makeup, but it should sit with the character and the style and whatever the game brief has told you to use. So since she's an archaeologist here, I'm adding eyeliner, but I'm not going to make it heavy eyeliner that she's going to go out clubbing with. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video here and we can continue on with our head and face makeup in the next video.